This is Shelley Kraft coming to you live on SNNLive. We're coming to you from the New Orleans Investment Conference 2017 in New Orleans. I have with me today Chris Rawley from Harvest Returns. It's a private company. Chris, welcome to SNNLive.
Thanks for having me on, Shelley.
Good to have you. Let's get started with an overview of the company, and then we'll go from there.
So very simply, we're an online marketplace for investing in agriculture.
How does it work?
So we are a platform where investors can come on with as little as $5,000, get access to a variety of deals in farmland, timberland, different types of crops in different geographic areas.
What's the history of the company?
So I started Harvest Returns about a year and a half ago. I've been a long-term investor in real estate and more recently in farmland and agriculture, and started to see the value in this asset class and wondering why there weren't more people investing in it. There's a number of institutions, pension funds, university endowments that have significant portions of their portfolio in agriculture. But as a retail investor, it's more hard to access. You can go out and buy a farm, but that requires significant capital up front, significant knowledge. So what we're doing is streamlining access to these investments by putting them all on a single one-stop shopping place on the internet where you can, with as little as $5,000, come in and have part of a private placement, an interest in a farm. We have operations now in Belize. We have operations, a farmland fund in Brazil right now, some offerings in Texas and Georgia. And we get dozens of inquiries every week from farmers all over the world who want to raise capital with us.
So how does it work?
So basically the easy way is to come on. It's like any other private placement offering. You have to kind of do your due diligence. You have to read the private placement memorandum. It's generally for accredited investors. Most of our deals are tuned in that manner. And you review the offering, and then you can be invested in simply a few minutes. Where it's that easy. Of course, we want you to take your time and read all the documents and access your lawyers and things like that.
What's the value proposition?
So our value proposition is that we offer access to these investments that are hard to find, hard to come by. We're vetting out the sponsor, we're vetting out the farmers, we're building relationships with them, we're visiting the farms in most cases, doing some of that due diligence so that you don't have to, although you can still at any time go visit the farm and see your investment. It's real, it's tangible, produces a yield every year. The farmland generally appreciates. The long-term demographics for farmland are what are most important for us.
Does your company invest in these same private placements as well?
We will take a carry percentage in some of these deals. In some of these deals, we have a small investment. We don't manage the farms. We're not professional farm managers. That's what the sponsors we hire for, and that's why we vet them and make sure that they have experience growing a particular crop type.
What criteria do you use when choosing the companies to put on your platform?
Great question. Number one is the sponsor's background, his or her experience, track record in growing a particular type of crop in this sort of farming. Have they been in that operation? A lot of the farmers we talk to are multi-generational farmers, and they're just looking for capital to go out on their own, get out of the family farm. So sponsor track record is number one. Number two is what's the financial merit of the investment? So what's the investment structure, what's the expected return, are all the pro formas in order, those sorts of things. And finally, the crop type itself. Right now we're generally focused on tree crops, specialty crops. There's a higher rate of return from those crops, although we just heard Dennis Gartman say that he expects commodity prices to turn. So we have a lot of grain farmers that we work with as well that are interested. So that might be an opportunity for viewers that want to get access to a crop that's going to hopefully skyrocket in the next few years.
What's your background?
So I have a unique background. I'm not a farmer. I have a military background. I grew up after college, became a naval officer, but I've worked in the real estate industry. I've worked in the IT sector, Fortune 500 management, but been a long-time real estate investor.
What differentiates this company from others?
Simply put, how accessible we are. Our minimums are low. There are some farmland funds out there you can get into with $100,000, $200,000, but our offerings are designed for someone who either wants to diversify an amount of money across several different deals, but maintain some exposure to the agriculture sector. But it's mostly the accessibility.
Now, let me ask you, what kind of deals? You said they were private placements. What kind of private placements?
So these are structured generally as LLCs. Generally, our pool of investors will either invest in the farm operation outright, the farmer's company, or in some cases invest in the land. So there's an underlying piece of land ownership. Every deal is structured a little differently, so it's important to read the private placement offerings and review them and decide if the structure of the deal and the returns are right for you.
What's the rest of your management team look like?
So my partner is also a military veteran, has a lot of overseas experience. We're really focused on overseas operations. The emerging markets and frontier markets are where the long-term opportunities in agriculture are, but we also have team members that have deep agricultural experience as well, and we have consultants that help us do the due diligence on these farms.
So tell me about the platform itself.
Right, so we're basically set up as an equity crowdfunding platform. So there's a number of other crowdfunding platforms out there that are primarily focused on real estate. Our niche is commercial agriculture. We list deals that are generally Regulation D, 506C. We actually have one 506B deal which will allow non-accredited investors, but we're primarily looking for accredited investors.
Now, how do you make money?
We take listing fees from our sponsors, and we also take a carry, as I said, in some of the deals.
What do you see as an exit strategy for investors in these private placements?
So farming is a long-term investment for generally suitable for people with longer-term horizons. Some of our deals are designed to be in perpetuity, so maybe a legacy sort of family office deal. But others, there's a defined exit strategy where within several years the farmer will produce a crop, especially if it's tree crop. It takes a few years to get those projected returns out, and then they might refinance the land and allow investors to access their principal.
Chris, let's get your website out there for more information for our investor audience.
Sure. It's harvestreturns.com. We encourage you to go on, sign up, view our opportunities, and look at our educational resources.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Rawley, Harvest Returns, a private company. I'm Shelley Kraft. This is SNNLive, and we're coming to you live from the New Orleans Investment Conference 2017 here in New Orleans. Thank you so much, Chris, for coming on.
Thanks, Shelley, for having me.
My pleasure.